Thank you for watching us on YouTube. But did you know that if you're on the go, you can get the full show as a podcast now? You can get our morning breakdown of the most important topics facing our country, news not being covered by the mainstream media, interviews with change-making progressives, and info on what you can actually do about all this. Search for The Damage Report on your favorite podcast app and subscribe so you know when new episodes are ready to go. As much as I love just an endless deluge of bad news, it turns out that occasionally when progressives put political pressure on someone, a group or an individual, it actually works. We're gonna profile one instance of that in It's Working. I hadn't seen that before, just a fist bump and an explosion?
By far my favorite part of my job.
Okay.
Is adding supernovas to the end, some graphic intros that also already featured stock footage of like two millennium business bros fist bumping.
Yes, it turns out though it was not the millennial business bros that did this good thing. But what is the good news? Let's start with that. Amazon is going to be raising its minimum wage to $15 an hour starting November 1st, actually. That's for all part-time, temporary, and seasonal employees. So hey, that was a good decision by Jeff Bezos and Amazon that had nothing to do with anything else but their desire to pay their employees more. Thank you for watching The Damage Report. No, I'm kidding, that's not actually how it worked. It turned out it took a lot of pressure, which we're gonna break down. But bear in mind, some people might think, hey, okay, they're making more money, but hey, maybe they'll lose some other benefits or something like that. No, they're gonna keep getting their healthcare, disability insurance, 20 weeks paid parental leave, which is not bad actually, internal career training courses, all that stuff. But why did this come about? That's what we're interested in. Well, if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that we had Ro Khanna on to talk about the Stop Bezos Act. That's what he in the House and Bernie Sanders in the Senate were pushing, putting pressure specifically on Amazon, in addition to other corporations, to say that they need to pay their employees a living wage. Bernie Sanders has been sounding this war cry, I guess, for some time. He tweeted this recently. Amazon is worth $1 trillion. Jeff Bezos is worth $155 billion. Thousands of American workers have to rely on food stamps, Medicaid, and public housing to survive. This is what a rigged economy looks like. Tomorrow we will introduce a bill to end subsidies for low-wage employees. And while many people were critical of the bill and thought that it might have some side effects, what it did do was cause a lot of public attention on this issue, and it appears to have worked.
Yes. This goes back to like the roots of the progressive era, which is, listen, capitalism, okay. But at times, there are situations where there is no incentive, because there is no pressure on companies to actually do things like stop these weird corrupt practices where they rely on subsidies so that, Amazon, which has a lot of money, and should be paying its workers for the needed services they provide, instead are just taking extra money, putting it away, and then using the subsidies from the government, which originates from the taxpayers, in order to close that gap, fill in the holes. And that's not okay. And this is something that would not happen without pressure from people like Bernie Sanders, from people like you, from people like me, from people who said
Fight
this
for 15
seems
and
wrong.
Lots of other groups and activists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the invisible hand of the market would simply just reached out and took money from the taxpayers, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And at the same time, even with those subsidies, there were workers that had to sleep in their cars outside because it just wasn't tenable.
Yeah.
But it was the only game in town. That's all they could do.
Yeah.
And this is pressure that makes someone like Bezos go, and it wasn't because of the bottom line, it wasn't because of the money, it was because of the pressure that he said, I have to do something.
Yeah, it was gonna cost him more in public perception of Amazon and its exploitative business practices than actually paying them. And so let's step back and just look at competing media outlets' coverage of this issue. So you had us here. We covered initially the Stop Bezos Act, then we brought on one of the people who was pushing for it, one of the congressmen, to talk about it. And we are totally lacking in credibility, nincompoops. We don't know anything, we don't have any power and should never have any power. We should leave it to the reputable people who greeted Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna's bills with things like this. Bernie Sanders picks the wrong kind of fight with Amazon. The senator seems more focused on embarrassing the online giant than helping its workers. Or Bernie Sanders doesn't get how politics works. Yeah, he's a dummy. He doesn't know anything. Oh, did he make the biggest corporation in the history of corporations pay their employees a living wage? Oh, were you right? Is there gonna be a retraction? Is there gonna be an apology? No, because in this industry, you can just get all your predictions wrong and it doesn't matter. Or you can get all your predictions right and it doesn't matter as long as you're on YouTube. And by the way, if you think that we're overplaying the effect of Bernie Sanders on this, and maybe it's just a time thing where it's sort of linked up, Jeff Bezos, there's a statement attributed to him from Amazon saying, "We listened to our critics, thought hard about what we wanted to do, and decided we want to lead. We're excited about this change and encourage our competitors and other large employers to join us." So look, he's not gonna say it was Bernie Sanders, but he's saying there are critics, and Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna were the highest profile. Bernie Sanders tweeted as well after this news saying, "What Mr. Bezos has done today is not only enormously important for Amazon's hundreds of thousands of employees, it could well be a shot heard around the world. I urge corporate leaders around the country to follow Mr. Bezos' lead." So, hey, it's working.
It's working. Great segment.
It is. Thank you for making that. Hey. But yeah, that's obviously good news. And look, we have to be willing to acknowledge when we're winning. I think too often we're so used to being beat down day after day by the news and just punched in the face over and over that, I don't know, we feel like if we acknowledge it, maybe it'll disappear like an oasis.
I will say that I did listen to Fox News this morning, and even Fox News gave a shout out to Bernie Sanders for making this happen. They say what you will, it worked.
Yeah, maybe this is just a cynic of me. I would love to have seen what their coverage of it was initially. I think Tucker Carlson did something positive about it because he hates Jeff Bezos.
And these are the things that they're
like he doesn't care about the wages, but he hates Jeff Bezos. So it was a useful thing for them.
Yeah, I don't know. He does have a track record of calling out corporations for weird things that aren't consistent with this.
Okay. Well, we'll see how he acts when he gets Democratic Socialists on his show. I know. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.